Next, an opportunity that will arise for you to attack a double leg would be from the 2-on-1. If we get this position high, again, I want to always keep my head inside. We're going to presume that my opponent is blocking and maybe has defeated my head position here. Okay? I need to control his shoulder well. I need to control his wrist well. The other thing is I'm typically going to be sagging down. What I want to do in this situation is I want to keep the arm straight and bring it up. Now, I'm not so much trying to push this up so much as just getting it to a point where I can come down low enough to get underneath this post here. Okay. Typically, when I have a 2-on-1 here, especially if my opponent may be defeating my head position and they're posting, they're going to be pushing hard here, and they're also probably going to be getting more square. In other words, when I have the 2-on-1, again, my goal is to keep the angle. But if he gets a little looser on me, he's controlling my head, he's probably going to be slightly squared out. What I want to do from this position is I'm going to lift the arm up, at the same time, or simultaneously, lowering my level. I'm not so much trying to push this arm up as just getting it to a point where I can come underneath it to the double. My goal, again, is not so much to be pushing this post up, but just to prevent it from getting any lower so I can therefore duck under it. So I have the 2-on-1 here. Colby's beat my head position. He's pushing into me. This comes up as my level lowers. Same time, and double leg. I have a 2-on-1 here. Colby's pushing my head. He squares up somewhat because he's trying to get better position here. I'm going to lift this up. Colby's blocking and squaring off here. And again, one of the things too, don't try to bend this arm up. I'm almost like stretching this out as I'm coming up because I want to keep that straight. Okay, this is all like one like post here, one straight post, as opposed to keeping it bent and trying to push it up. I'm kind of elongating it here. So from here, he squares out. Again, you'll notice, lower the level, cut the distance, get the angle. Transfer the weight to his far foot. Chop, but I'm not pulling in, I'm just blocking as I'm driving over it, keeping the weight down. And that makes it very difficult for him to be able to retreat successfully, and instead he falls down. Pushes. Now, this next technique will come from the 2-on-1 after I've attacked the double leg, after my opponent has sprawled. This isn't a double leg finish, but it's appropriate to put this technique here. If, during my attack in, I pop up and he sprawls out, you'll notice his position now. His weight is not over his own feet. In fact, if I wasn't here now, he would fall. His weight, his center of gravity is way in front of his feet. What I'm going to do now is, I'm going to put his hand on the mat. If I just stepped away, he may not all fall down all the way. He'll be probably able to recover, but you'll notice he's moving forward. I'm going to help him. So I popped in here. He comes down. This hand is going to come down right to the mat in front of me, sort of at a triangle, the apex of a triangle. Down. You'll notice where Colby's weight is now. Stay right there, Colby. His weight is forward on his hands or on his elbows, protecting his face. That gives me the opportunity to come around behind, get the back, whatever you want to do in jiu-jitsu or wrestling. But what's crucial is that his weight is forward on his hands. That gives me the opportunity to spin around. We'll be going over more of that principle in some future instructionals. But I want to put his hand down. I want to keep his weight forward on those hands while I spin behind, or while I get his back. So he's posting. I pop up. He comes down here. Come around behind. Get his back up. I want. Again, he's in a very vulnerable position for either wrestling, jiu-jitsu, or of course the mixed martial arts, no holds barred. Another option is when I pop up here, instead of bringing it in a line, you'll notice those first ones were in a line along the axis of this arm. That way, the other option is popping up and just coming down. One, I'm driving the arm along its axis to the mat. The other one, it's starting it up high and bringing it down. I prefer coming straight down along the axis, but I think both are fine and both work well, and you do what feels most comfortable for you. So I'm trying to attack here. I come down. This time it's more along the axis of the shoulder. I'm bringing this down. Whereas the first one, it's down. Again, do whatever you want. Get in the back, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, or mixed martial arts. A variation of that is that Colby's posting here, and I can't, sometimes I might be in an awkward position so that I can't even get the initial double attack. You can still bring the arm down. Sometimes I may need to retreat a little. If he's pushing into me, I retreat and get a little bit of an angle. Let's see, let me see the angle here. If I'm in this position here, and I can't get under here, I can just bring it down. He's posting, I can't get under, and especially he's got to be posting pretty hard actually. One thing that's important for this type of a technique, Colby has to be posting such that his weight is forward. If it's not, if we're fairly upright, I'm going to be thinking about other things here, like a single, some foot sweeps. So in this type of a technique, I want the action such that we're fighting each other, and there's a slight angle such that his weight is out in front of his feet. I'll be most successful that way. So he's pushing, I can't get up. I come down, and I come around behind. So that's just a variation there. But again, what am I trying? By virtue of him pushing into me, his weight is slightly ahead of his feet. And it's very easy at that point to pull his upper body down. It's much more difficult if he is totally upright here for me to jerk him off his center of gravity and to bring him down. That's a much more difficult task. So be aware of the position and angle that your partner is relative to your own. Again, in this position, typically, because we're fighting hard and I'm pushing in, typically the weight is out in front. So we go down.